All right, welcome back to Introduction to Engineering Design. This is data analysis of our puzzle solution test times as part of Module 4.1. So what I've done is I've opened up my Excel spreadsheet and I've dumped the data into it that I collected from my test subjects. So in column A, I've basically got names of the participants. I've got their ages, the sex, male or female, and then attempt 1, I skip a column, attempt 2, I skip a column, and attempt 3 with the data points in there. So let me go ahead and bold those headers for you just to make it clear. We're going to go through this and try and find some average or means of our attempts. And I'm going to do this using a tool called the Data Analysis Toolpak within Excel. So to get there, click on the Data tab. This should be installed, the Data Analysis Tool over here. So we're going to go ahead and click on Data Analysis Tool, Descriptive Statistics. Select OK. And the first thing it's going to do is it's going to ask you what data do you want to have analyzed in descriptive statistics. So I'm going to go ahead and select the data from attempt 1. Second thing I have to resolve here is where do I want to display that data, and I want to put it on this sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and select a cell directly beneath where my data lie, and that's the reason I've left this blank column here. And I want summary statistics, so we'll select summary statistics. With that, it spits out all the statistics I'd want about those data points. So I'm going to go ahead and wash, rinse, repeat, do that again. I'll do it a little bit quicker this time since you've seen it. So the cells that I want to select are under attempt 2. I want the data placed right underneath my descriptive statistics, and I've got summary statistics. And sorry about that, I just messed that up. There we go. And same thing here, data analysis, descriptive statistics, select my data points, select my placement place, summary statistics. There they are. I can retitle this from column 1. I can change this to attempt 1. Or maybe not. And then attempt 2 and attempt 3. Now what I really want to do is make a second column down here. And what I want to have in this is I want to make a dependent and independent variable. So my dependent variable is going to be the attempt. And I'm going to enter those data points here. And this is the average for 1, 2, 3. And then average solution time. My average solution time is equal to my mean, and this is equal to my mean for attempt 2. This is equal to my mean for attempt 3. So there I've got my data points. What I want to do now is to create a scatter plot. The way that I'll do that is start with insert. I can select my data, so my independent variable on the left, dependent variable on my right, and now I'll select my scatter plot. Scatter plot, and it goes ahead and makes a nice little chart which I can move around. Let me give the chart a title. I'll just double click on it, and I want to call this solution time versus attempt. I'd like to add some details to this chart, so while I'm in the chart, in the Design tab of Chart Tools, I'll go ahead and add some elements. And I want to add axis titles to the primary vertical, and I want to add an axis title to the horizontal and vertical. I can give these a title, so you can see on the left-hand side, that is the solution time. And I'll put my unit in there, minutes. And on my x-axis down here, this is number of attempts. All right, super. So my chart is formatted. The one last thing that I want to really do, and I'll reselect my chart, and I'm going to go back into my design tools for my chart. I want to add one more thing, and I want to add a trend line. Now we need to kind of discuss this trend line. So adding a trend line here, and I want to select my trend line options, I can make this a linear. That's the default that it chose. But that's not a very good fit, is it? It just kind of averages through there, and it goes below 0, which we know you can't solve a puzzle in negative time. So I don't think that's a very good fit. I think it's closer to a logarithmic or a power fit. So let's look at that's a logarithmic fit. There's a power fit. And here's an exponential. So I'm going to say it's a power fit. That's pretty darn close, and that'll allow us to project out further forward. I want to select Display the Equation on the chart, move my equation where I can see it, and then the last thing that I want to do here is extend that out. So I'm going to go to my trend line options again here, and you can see I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to add another one. I wanted to format the one I was in. So let me select that, select this, and format it. And what I want to do is I want to project forward, and I'm going to go out another 3 periods forward. So as if we solved it 6 times. And what you're going to see is my solution trends down fairly aggressively, and then it flattens out. It flattens out somewhere above 0. Now that doesn't really matter what kind of a line I use, whether I use a logarithmic, it has a very similar response, not quite the same, a power, or an exponential. So exponential and power. I'm going to call it a power because that seems like a better curve fit. And honestly, there's not enough data to make a real good decision about what to display it as. So this is my solution versus time, and we could use this as a mathematical model. And what you'll see here is there are some fairly significant gains initially as we solve the puzzle the first time. It takes a while. The second time we start to figure out this particular puzzle. The third time it becomes rote or memory. And what would we expect? We would expect to see these times continue to go down if I had an attempt 4. Now how much? That's a little bit risky to say that this plot would perfectly predict that, because there is a finite amount of time that it just takes to pick the puzzle up to solve it. So you're never going to get down to 0, but what you do see is you see a very clear characteristic where there's diminishing returns for solving it more and more and more. There is a return, but it's not nearly as great. From the first to the third attempt has a much greater reduction in time than what you would expect to see from perhaps the 3rd to the 6th attempt. And that's kind of what this chart is telling us. So that's how we plot our data for our test of our puzzle cube. And this is Introduction to Engineering Design, Module 4.1. Thanks.